Hi everyone, it's Brett here, Lionheart84, and I'm back. So I thought I'd start and I thought I'd do a video to explain a little bit why I had an enforced break from YouTube, the reasons and what I've had done in terms of hospital visits and hospital work, and what the situation is now, and a little bit about what I had done for people that are interested, and why I obviously had to stop making videos for a while, and what my plans are in terms of what videos I can or can't put out, and the reasons for it in the sort of near future. But the good news is I'm here, which means I'm feeling a lot better. So to give you a bit of a background, now obviously some of my friends on YouTube who also interact with me on social media and personal messaging will know precisely why I had to have a break from YouTube and what I had done, and obviously, and also some people will have noticed from comments I may have made in videos, or indeed in answers to comments, where I gave a little bit more sort of slightly vague information away about what happened to me, but I didn't particularly, because of the nature of the situation or medical situation, I didn't particularly want to sort of put too much information about it before I had the operation, because I didn't know what the situation would be afterwards, if it'd be successful, if I'd even still be here to make videos. So therefore it's a little bit vague, because obviously these things can be very personal as well, but I do have my reasons for talking about it, and that will be obviously come clear in the video. I'm hoping to do the video in one shoot from start to finish, as I always do, without having to edit it and mess around with it. It will depend on things like that plane flying overhead as to how successful that is, if I can hear myself talk. So basically, to sort of start the story off, late in June I got sent one of those the random bowel cancer screening kits, which in the UK they tend to start sending out when you get to 60. I believe in some countries they start younger, particularly in America, but here it's not done until you're 60. And and I'm pleased to say that I did use the kit rather than throw it in a bin, as I know some people are prone to do, or just leave it on the side for weeks on end. And all I can say is thank goodness I did. Now I would have to say, the first thing I'd say to anybody who's watching this, if you've ever had one of those kits through, please do use it. In 99%, or certainly 99% of cases, it will be fine, which is exactly what I saw, but in my case it wasn't. Now within very quickly, within 2 or 3 days of sending the test kit back to the lab where they screened for cancers, I had a letter through from the cancer screening unit saying that there were some small amounts of blood in my sample, and they'd like to investigate further, which is normally done with a colonoscopy, because they felt that I might have polyps or some other issue with my bowel or colon. And they do stress obviously in the letters, and it is true, that in 90% of the cases there's no cancer found. It is simply small polyps which they can remove, because those one day may become cancerous. So I was booked in very quickly, and I'm going to praise the National Health Service here in the UK. Things move very quickly. They booked me in for a colonoscopy, which was at the local cancer specialist hospital, actually called Addenbrooke's at Cambridge, if you happen to be in the UK and you're interested. But obviously there are lots of hospitals that specialise in cancer treatment, and I went in for my colonoscopy, which I've never had done before, which is where they obviously put a camera up your nether regions, to put it delicately. You can have it done under a mild sedation, so you don't feel too much prodding. I think you can probably be knocked out completely if you want, or you can choose no sedation if you're a sadist, but I don't have a good pain tolerance, so I chose to have some sedation. And if you wish, you can watch the investigation being done, and they have a big television screen in front of you if you wish to look in that direction, which I did. It was very, very interesting until they came to the part where they found a large tumour in my colon. So from that point, they obviously, the first thing to do is biopsy it to make sure it is a tumour and not some other kind of growth. But I've got to say that it didn't look particularly nice to me. Didn't look promising at all. It was probably about 2 centimetres, or just under an inch, which I think in the case of mine, I think it was what they call a stage 2 or grade T2. I think they call it as T1, T2, T3, T4. T1 is the smallest one, where they're very small. They can normally remove them there and then, send them for biopsy, and T2 is the stage where you will need quite major surgery. So they sent off the sample, and sure enough it was a malignant cancer. And the next treatment I moved to about a week after that was to go and have a CT scan, because basically they want to have a look and see if they can see if it's spread to any other organs, i.e. kidney, liver, and other areas around, if it's spread outside the bowel, because obviously that can then cause a lot of other issues and problems and might require different treatments. So having had that CT scan, they seem to be happy that it didn't seem to have spread into other organs, which is one good thing. Now, the normal treatment, if you're going the route of medical treatment, obviously there may be people watching who might favour and believe in things like holistic treatments, whereby you might eat or drink certain things in the hope that that will help the cancer dissipate. But to be honest, I'm a pretty healthy eater anyway. In fact, I'd say I'm an extremely healthy eater. Yes, I do eat some red meat. I'm not a vegan or a vegetarian, very small quantities, and I do eat some poultry and fish, but I do eat a lot of high fibre fruits, vegetables, grains, nuts, and a lot of the healthy stuff, and I'm very active as well. So basically the schedule was set out where I would be going into the normal treatment for this, if you go ahead with medical treatment, which I preferred to do, is to have surgery. And once they've located they've actually determined the exact location of the tumour in your bowel, the normal course of attack, if you like, is to remove the section of your bowel, the large bowel or colon, where the cancer is residing. And you don't just remove the tumour, you have to remove quite a large section, because I need to make sure that if any of the cells have spread into the blood vessels and lymph nodes next to where the cancer is, because a lot of them like cross-feed each other, then obviously they need to make sure that it's not spread into other areas, and if it has, you then may require further treatment by way of chemotherapy or something similar. Now, because I had discovered that I had cancer at the beginning of July, obviously, firstly, it's quite, I've got to say, it's quite mentally stressful. I found it quite traumatic to find out I had cancer, because I am slim and fit and had no symptoms of any sort whatsoever. So I had no expectation that I was going to find out that I had colon cancer. And the first things were to get a lot of things into order. So that was to sort out all the plants that needed sorting out, get all of my work up to date as far as possible, and get myself mentally and physically prepared as best as possible. I keep my weight nice and level and trim. I increase my walking considerably, increase my gardening, increase my workload and the physical activity I was doing, work to try and get myself as fit as possible, because as they always say with surgery, the fitter you are and the better your weight is, the more likely the surgery will be easy, will go smoother with less problems. Because obviously if you're particularly obese or overweight, it's extremely hard for them to carry out bowel cancer, because you have a large amount of fat in the way that stops them working on it. Now, the time frame from finding out I had cancer was about, they said it would be about 4 to 5 weeks before I had surgery. The options that normally come up are robotic surgery, which is still very rare here, keyhole surgery, and if they can't do it with the keyhole surgery, which does happen at times, then obviously they progress to the full width surgery, where you're cut open much further than rather than using the keyhole ones, so they can work easier on your insides. Sounds a bit gruesome, but there we go. So my surgery was scheduled for last Wednesday, which was the 14th of August, and there are obviously several things you have to do in preparation for that. Special diets you have to have the day before. You can't eat anything. You have to have special things to completely empty your stomach and internals outside. And then as scheduled, I went in on the 14th, and the surgery I had, I'm going to have to read this, I had a laparoscopic left hemicolectomy and intracorporeal anastomosis. So in English, I had the keyhole surgery. Now, they didn't run into any complications, because one of the things they did warn me is it's very hard, it's not very hard, it's hard for them to reseal the colon without getting some leakage. Now, if they have leakages, then they have to fit you with a stoma bag, which will normally be reversible anything from 2 to 6 months down the line. And basically a stoma bag comes straight out of your intestine, so that you can't digest and dispose of your food in quite the normal way, i.e. through your bottom. So, my surgery was very lengthy, and it was quite complicated. It's very traumatic. It's 5 hours long, but they managed to rejoin the two sections of my colon. And I will put obviously I'll have inserted in here a diagram of the procedure I had. Now, they removed a section on the left hand side of my colon, which was about 12 inches or 30 centimeters long, which is probably about a third of most people's usable colon. Some are up to 1.5 meters and some a little bit less than a meter. So I had about a third removed, but you can survive and digest food and operate quite well, especially if you look after yourself and you're not a big person, on the remains of the colon I've got left. So I've heard of stories where people have the whole of the bowel removed, and obviously you then have to have a stoma bag forever. However, my keyhole laparoscopic means keyhole, and the left hemicolectomy is basically where they take the left section of my bowel away, and I'm not going to show you the scars, don't worry. And then the intercorporeal anastomosis is basically where they take they stretch the two ends of the colon they've got left and join them together, and in my case they stitch them and staple them. Now, they said they expected me to be in hospital for at least a week, because it's an extremely traumatic surgery, and obviously you can't really eat afterwards except very liquid stuff like soup initially, depending on the time you have recovering. And obviously they have to wait for leaks, and obviously they've got to make sure you've got no leaks, they've got to make sure you've got no infections. So you're immediately starting a course of antibiotics in hospital, and as soon as possible they try to get you out of bed and sitting up next to your bed, because it puts less pressure on your abdomen than if you're actually lying flat. They want you to be upright, and it also stops fluid building up in the bottom of your lungs, because there are a lot of complications, as in any surgery you might have, even a minor surgery. You can get pneumonia, infections, blood poisoning, there's all sorts of issues. And I've got to say, I've been fortunate. My recuperation from the surgery started very quickly. By the next day I could sit up in the chair next to the bed, and they even allowed me to have some liquids, and by the next day the surgeon came in and said that I could have very soft food. So that was like mashed Weetabix, jelly, some soft rice or mashed potatoes, scrambled eggs, stuff like that. But obviously you're in a lot of pain because you've had your stomach cut to pieces. So that's all gone that all went within very well, and within 3 days I was walking up and down the corridors of the ward slowly, I might add. I wasn't on drips anymore. Obviously you get painkillers each day, and you have to have blood thinning injections every day because they want to make sure there's no risk of clots. And I'm wearing these dreadful DVT, deep vein thrombosis stockings, that some people are recommended to wear when they're flying, which you have to keep on for about a month afterwards. But otherwise, I'm now starting to feel, I've got to say, I'm feeling very well. I'm now eating normally, but very small quantities on a regular basis. I have to be very careful. They want me to rest the wounds and the surgery so it has time to heal. So I can't drive a car because of the movement involved in the upper legs and the groin area, and obviously it's painful if you do that. And also the risk if you drive a car of some twit causing you to brake suddenly, and you end up crushing your stomach against the seat belts, won't be ideal. So you know, there's that to think of as well. But I can walk around without any issues. I can get around the house. I can do light things like I can now start to prepare myself food, so I don't need anyone to nurse me. And I can now start to do very light things in the garden, just watering, for example. Now there's no so what I'm going to be doing is I'm now back to making some videos, and I will be making basically lightweight videos, just where I'm having a look at a plant and discussing things that might be of interest on it. There won't be any videos that involve me pruning or lifting up plant pots and moving them, because basically it's too painful to do. But there's no reason why I can't make lots of short videos. Long ones might be tiring because standing up in one place is a bit tricky, and as I said, I can't move any plants around. I can't, as I said, go back to work for, I probably won't go back for a couple of weeks. No driving, although I can be driven, but I have to put a cushion over my waist just to protect me in case of something unexpected. But as I said, I'm eating normally. Obviously I won't be drinking alcohol. I'm not going to be eating heavy coarse foods that are hard for me to digest, but I'm feeling very, very well. And today I'm filming this on the 21st of August, and it's a Wednesday, and it's exactly 1 week after I had the operation. And there's always a possibility if the operation had gone wrong, I might not have, might not have woken up. You can have heart attacks, you can have blood clots, which could cause strokes, heart stoppages, pulmonary embolisms. There's all sorts of issues you can have, but I'm pleased to say that the surgery has gone very well. Now I'm not completely out of the woods yet. Obviously they've removed quite a large section of colon, and within about 10 to 14 days time they will have done a full biopsy of the whole section of colon they removed, and they'll then call me in to discuss if there's further signs of cancer cells in other areas, in which case I may need a course of chemotherapy, or if you follow some holistic healers, a glass of bicarbonate of soda every day. But I think I'll pass on that one and just go with the chemotherapy if necessary. But I thought I'd give a full explanation for people who are interested. Obviously it'll be of zero interest to some people, but no, perhaps I think some people thought I might have had some personal family issues to deal with, but it was personal medical issues, completely unexpected. But at least I'm around to discuss it in a video, and just say to anybody who gets one of those screening tests, please use it. 99% sure you'll be fine, but if, like me, you're one of the few that comes up and tests positive for blood, it still might not be cancer. It could be a tear, it could be polyps, it could be ulcers, it might be internal hemorrhoids. There's a load of other reasons why you can have blood in your to put it bluntly, poo. And mine wasn't visible. It was only detected through a lab checking it. But if I hadn't done that, and it'd been another year before I found out, perhaps with a blocked colon, and by then the tumour would be possibly 3 or 4 times the size, could have gone through the wall of the bowel and spread into other organs, then you really are in serious trouble at that stage, and your odds of recovery are likely to be much lower. Now in my case, obviously I'll be going in for screening probably I think initially it's every 6 months, then they move it to 1 year, and if nothing's appeared after 5 years, they put it down as being in remission, and hopefully if you keep on looking after yourself, it doesn't come back. Apparently it doesn't often reoccur if they've got rid of it all in the first place, but it depends on how bad your cancer with, of course. But you know, with any luck, I'll still be around making videos in a few years and get to see fruits on a few more of my plants. But that was the video, ladies and gentlemen. Hope some people found it of interest and useful. It might give them a little warning just to make sure they look after themselves. Do make the most of your health while you've got it, and look after your plants, because you never know when you might be throwing a curveball. So thanks for watching the video. It's nice to see you all again. Please do share it, because you know, it might save someone's life. Subscribe to my channel, of course, although it won't be medical videos, we'll be back to plant videos. And remember, you've got to click on that bell if you want to know what's happening and when new videos come out. So I'll see you all soon, and I will see you all soon. Catch up with you all soon. Brett out for now.